There's a reason why Steve Jobs never gave his kids these technologies. There's a reason why every big tech founder went to what's called a Waldorf school, which are low tech to zero tech schools. Um, the founders themselves, Eric Schmidt, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Systrom, Zuckerberg, these guys went to low tech schools. So the whole idea is, right, you don't get high on your own supply.
This is Virtuous Leaders, the podcast for based Catholics who will speak truth, do good, or die trying. Here's the show. You're the founder of Humanality, which is being featured on Hallow. So that's pretty good. Congrats on that. What inspired you to start that organization?
So I actually came on as executive director about 2 years ago. So the founders are Hope and Justin Schneer. Justin started a company called Tractor Beverages. And
I know that.
So they're an organic beverage company. And yeah, he noticed at Franciscan, his alma mater and mine as well, that they wanted to help students that were just staring down at their phones. You know, even when I was on campus there 10 years ago now, it was a very special place. Like, people would talk to you and say hello. And when you walk by them, like, they looked at each other, you know? And now people were doing that. So they decided to fund a scholarship and pay 30 students scholarship money to give up their smartphone and take a dumb phone. And then Humanality was born from that. It kind of exploded and got a lot of attention. And then I came on as executive.
Now, where is it now? Because as I said, it's exploded. It looks like y'all have a waiting list for other colleges. So what's it looking like now?
Yeah, so we got to about 8 universities now. And yeah, we kind of realized, early on that this wasn't just for Franciscan. This is like a need everywhere. And then I'd say the last year, it's been like really obvious that this isn't just a need for college students. It's teenagers, It's middle school. And guess what? Like, most adults are addicted to tech too. So it's like, it's really for everyone. And that's kind of what we're launching into. So this summer we'll be launching into essentially general population. And I can share with you more if you'd like, kind of what the Humanality Village experience looks like now.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. So what they are now is I call them a village. So the more I've studied this topic over the years, I've probably read 40 plus books on this. And my experience too is I was addicted to all these platforms as a millennial. And the more I started to realize the solution that needed to happen, it wasn't necessarily a new app, or, it wasn't just giving up the phone completely. I realized we needed to get back to our local environments, and actually the hyper connectivity of the digital realm is actually making us lonelier than ever. And what we really need is like human interaction. So these Humanality Village experience.
Wait, what? Human interaction? What is that? If I want to Google that to understand more, what would I?
That's true. Yeah, we don't know it. I mean, it's definitely something that is being lost, in our society. It has many physiological, psychological, and spiritual benefits. No, this doesn't mean that it's bad, to Zoom or to, FaceTime grandma. But like, what does our kind of day-to-day look like? And for Gen Z specifically, it's like over 68% of Gen Z says that they feel lonely and that no one really understands them. So the village experience is as follows. And what we create at the university level, we are going to expand to the world, essentially. So you join the Humanality Village, and we started by giving students light phones. So I use a light phone by the company called the Light Phone. It's simply just texting, calling. It's got an alarm clock. This one, the new Light Phone 3, has a camera, really advanced tech, I know. It's got directions and a hotspot. So students would join a village. They would give up their smartphones, choose a Light Phone or a Wisephone by Techless. And then it was kind of a digital AA. You go to a monthly, meeting together where we're unpacking a lot of the data, the curriculum from multiple MDs, PhDs, psychologists, moms, dads, and once you go through that curriculum, you take on these phone-free challenges, which we call personal real-life victories, and then community adventures. So a personal real-life victory could look like just phone-free meals. So if you just don't look at your phone and say you're eating for an hour 3 times a day, that's going to get you back 72 days of your year just by not looking at your phone at your meals, right? So along with that, they would take on community adventures. So they go on phone-free hikes. We had students throw Humanality concerts at the end of the year for the whole school. That was them going to a concert without their phone and just living the moment and listening to the music. So along with that is obviously the bread and butter of what I say, what we're doing and why it's working is because people are doing this together, right? This isn't an online community. And I would kind of share along with Sherry Turkle that we have to kind of reclaim that word. I don't think online communities are real. I don't think that word, I don't think that's it. I think it's a redefinition of what community is, which she shares kind of 4 ingredients, which are like proximity, shared concern, responsibility, and like being, consistent with one another, which in these Humanality villages, students get to experience that. And I mean, the stories are incredible, like students literally healing from self-image issues, obviously pornography, um, a lot of, you know, decrease in anxiety and depression, which we know there is a real causal link now between exposure to social media platforms and poor mental health outcomes, right? So
Mhm.
students learning that they want to decide to learn to play an instrument, and um, yeah, so the real capital, I'd say, of what is so valuable about what we're doing is it's just kind of helping people be human again.
I have a lot of questions on what you just said. This is really interesting. So when you said you have a curriculum based on a lot of different experts and opinions, can people access that curriculum? How do people access that
Yeah,
curriculum?
so this is only at the university level. We are now about to launch this to the general population. Now,
You are about to launch it to the general population.
so now anyone can start a Humanality village. Teenagers, young adults, adults, grandma and grandpa. You get access to the curriculum, multidisciplinary fields, all on addiction science, the digital, but also, again, I mean, we're getting into the health and wellness realm of sleep and human connection and relationships. And I essentially, studying all the literature I have in this space, I formulated these 11 Humanality ways to be more human. And so each episode unpacks, problems and solutions that technology are causing. So, Neil Postman said technology doesn't just change this or that, it changes everything. So I'd say with the dawn of the iPhone, social media, gaming, porn, all of these technologies, just even email, I mean, everything is changing. So we're kind of unpacking everything. And these 11 Humanality ways do that and then give you the kind of solutions. So, for example, first episode is Be Light. We go into all of the light science, how as human beings today, 93% of our time is indoors. Children are spending more time inside than some maximum security prisons. And
Yeah.
this isn't human. Like we actually need sunlight. The sunlight actually, for most people, isn't going to cause cancer. Out of the 3 million people that die a year in the United States, it's about 12,000 that die from some type of skin cancer. It's a very small percentage. And actually, like one of the greatest healing modalities we have in our lives is actually the sun. So, like, for example, in the evenings, because of our poor light environment, and this again is a technology, the light bulb was a technology that, affected the way that we are living. So now today, when most of our evenings for most people are spent on screen scrolling, that blue light
Yeah.
is affecting your melatonin production, which isn't just your sleep hormone. It's actually your prime antioxidant of the body. And your average American is losing about 30 minutes of sleep a night just due to our screens, right? So on the Be Light episode, we unpack how we need to be in the sunlight more. And then in the evenings, how we have to have, better lighting environments for proper circadian rhythm. So we go pretty deep on the science of circadian rhythm. So that's just an example of one episode that is unpacking how technology and screens specifically are affecting our human physiology, relationships, sleep, movement, the whole everything.
If someone wants to start a village, how do they do that?
So I can't give an exact date of when this is going to be available, But you'll essentially just go to our website, Humanality, humanality.org, and you will be able to launch a village. You can get friends together. Everyone buys, into the curriculum, and then you meet at your home. You can pace it at a 3-month experience, 6 months, or a year. And essentially, everyone will come together at a home or wherever a friend's house, watch an episode. We have a Humanality workbook, a journal that will accompany you through the experience, and you start taking on these real life victories and these community adventures, and really start this whole detox kind of protocol for you and your family. So what's great is that these are universal principles, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're 90 years old, if you're living in a poor lighting environment or scrolling yourself to sleep, that's going to affect your mental health. So it's really, what's amazing is that everyone's experiencing at some level some negative trade-offs from our digital landscape, right? So what's great is, like, this is kind of for everyone, and everyone will get something out of it. It's going to look different because not everyone's addicted to Instagram. Not everyone's addicted to pornography, even though, 30% of all internet traffic is for pornography. And every month, pornographic sites get more visits than TikTok, Instagram, Zoom, OpenAI, and Amazon combined. So we're hitting some pretty big, you know, issues. But again, what I'm excited about is that what I've seen at the university level is that this is working. Like, students are having life transforming experiences. And again, your average American is screen time is about 7 hours a day. For kids, teenagers, it's about 8 hours and 39 minutes. For low income communities, Black and Hispanic teenagers are about 10 hours a day of screen time. So we found after year one, going through a Humanality Village experience at a university level, the average student got about 144 hours back in their day, in their life.
Wow.
So, like, there's so much you can do with that time back that is going to make you so much happier and healthier and more resilient. So it's a pretty comprehensive solution that, yeah, we're excited to get to everyone.
Yeah. Okay. So how come if they want to start a village, how can people get an update to know when it's going to launch?
So you can just go to our website and just sign up to the newsletter. Just put in your email,
Gotcha.
and we'll give you a blast when the thing's ready to rock and roll. I think by the summer we'll be ready to go, and then we're going to continue to
Cool.
grow at the university level. We're going to be launching in the high schools as well. So we kind of just run the experiment, and I would call it the counter experiment. I'd say we are all in the biggest sociological experiment in the history of the world, which is, really our phones and tech and social media. And these are completely new inputs and experiences that the human person is in. And so we're kind of unpacking what's happening. I don't think people really understand how bad it is
Yeah.
on so many different levels. And so we're kind of here to help give the solutions.
Yeah. Man, how come people haven't heard about this your program Humanality? I mean, I hope this explodes. I hope this spreads across the
Yeah.
world like
Yeah,
fire.
my hope is too. I mean, so we're not on any social media platforms. And yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of building, but I'm pretty specifically,
Yeah.
I'm happy to go on podcasts. I think that's a medium that obviously we can have a little bit more interaction. There's more nuance. But we're staying off of having any accounts on social media. So I'm playing the long game with this. I
Yeah.
think virality is really over. I don't know. I don't want to go viral. I want to create an organization and a movement for like the next 40 years that maybe I'm alive. So this is, we're in year two. So yeah, we're young, we're building. I'm going about this very differently. And it's part of my story. I was a touring musician. I'm still touring now a little bit with my band in the Christian music world. And I was addicted to Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, my smartphone, email. I mean, you name it, YouTube. Struggled with pornography all through high school, even though at that time it was, I was told it was healthy and normal. But yeah, I mean, so I deleted all my social media and went to a flip phone in 2018, kind of at the height of my touring as an artist. And, my record label at the time was like, this is a really bad idea. And I just knew it was ultimately what God was calling me to do, because it was just, there's
Mhm.
so many ways that it was negatively impacting my day to day. And I was just tired of it. So after I deleted everything, went to a flip phone, I mean, my ministry kind of exploded. Like I went all over, I was already traveling
Wow.
all over the States, but North America, South America, Europe, Israel, all with a flip phone and no social media. My friendships improved, my purity improved, my prayer improved, my sleep improved, my productivity. I mean, almost everything got better. And I had no idea what God was going to do with that, right? Like, and then this opportunity came about, a couple of years ago. It was just super aligned with my experience. And again, as an artist traveling, playing music around the world, I actually saw the mental health crisis kind of unfold before my eyes amongst
Mm.
young people.
Wow.
So I had a real passion for wanting to help people and help people be healthy. And this, humanality kind of encompassed all of my loves for healing into one movement. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be a slow build, but I'm more interested in longevity than virality. Um, and so yeah, I hope though it does serve a lot of people. I kind of call us the Dave Ramsey of the digital world. So like Dave has been helping people with money for 35 years, right? There's always going to be
Mhm.
money. There's always going to be a need to learn how to use it. And sadly, your average American is in $37,000 worth of debt. So not that Dave's doing a bad job, but that I just think that the credit card companies are just doing a better job, right? Same with technology. There's always going to be technology. There's always going to be a need to learn to know how to use it. And sadly, because these companies create their products with addictive mechanisms built into them, there's sadly always going to be people addicted to tech that we're going to need help. So that's really the kind of model we're moving forward with. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited to see how kind of the world experiences what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, this may contradict everything you just said, but it'd be cool if Alex Jones introduces you to Tucker. If you could get on that platform.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I'll eventually make the rounds on a lot of those. I hope. Um, so yeah, because I do think a lot of the podcast world is an incredible way to get information out. The funny thing was, like, I kind of share, like, I overconsume podcasts, my car rides, my walks, my workouts. I mean, I was addicted to information,
Yeah.
so I do
Yeah.
think there is yeah, there's strategies that you can put in place to use the benefits of what tech gives us today without the trade-offs. And that's really kind of what we're helping navigate for people. I think people hear like digital detox and humanality and they're like, oh, we got to go live with the Amish and, get rid of our smartphones. And I personally think your life will be substantially better without a smartphone, but uh, you don't need to get rid of all these things. Like I'm on a laptop working, emailing people, doing Zoom calls and stuff every day. We're not anti-tech. We're not even anti-smartphone, but we're all about
Mhm.
intentionality.
Right.
So the thing is, when people talk about moderation, I think it's misguided. It's like Abigail Schreier says, at least with this conversation with moderation to teenagers, it's like nurses going to high schools asking students to moderate ecstasy. It's the wrong conversation. Like you can't give a kid a smartphone with Instagram or TikTok and ask them to moderate it and expect for their brains to be able to handle like trillions worth of dollars of investment to people who know how to exploit vulnerabilities in human psychology and keep you addicted to that. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
we can't be
Exactly.
expecting young kids to
Exactly.
do that.
Yes. Yes. That is exactly right. And I would add video games to that list too. So okay. So what strikes me about you is I mean, you're a cool dude, but and you have an excellent grasp of facts and ability to articulate them. Uh, how did where did that come from? I mean, you've read a lot. What's your
Yeah.
secret? How do you?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, we're just scratching the surface, to be honest. I'd say honestly, my lack of engagement with the online world has kind of become a secret sauce.
Huh.
like in the evenings I read. I'm single. I don't have wife or kids yet, so I do have more time. And the funny thing is, the time I do have, I'm investing in this business, this organization. But I'm very interested in the subjects. But I've always loved the intellectual life. I rage partied in high school, drugs and rock and roll, and had my kind of reversion to faith at 19. And I just went hardcore. Like I wanted to know the truth. So I didn't read it all in high school. I read Spark Notes. This is before AI, right? You could cheat with AI. I read Spark Notes to get through high school, which I barely did. Um,
Yeah.
but I became very fascinated with the idea of reality and God and truth, and how do we know all this is real? So I've always kind of said I've been wired for why. I have a really high level
Mhm.
curiosity. I question everything. I'm incredibly skeptical. So I remember one day, like, I ended up getting some certifications in the health and wellness space. But I remember one day just questioning, like, okay, vegans are saying, like, with PhDs, MDs saying, don't eat meat, meat's going to kill you. And then there's MDs and PhDs that are saying, eat meat, plants are going to kill you. And I was like,
Mhm.
just simple philosophical idea, the law of non contradiction. These both can't be true and not true at the same time. So, like, one of these guys got to be right. And I just remember, like, thinking, like, the shark doesn't wake up and just decide to go vegan. Like, the shark wakes up and eats what it was intended to eat. Like, the human person was intended to eat certain types of foods, and boom, go down that rabbit hole. So I get very interested in topics, and then I just take deep dives. And obviously this dive with technology, it's going to take years to unpack what's happening. What's crazy is everything I've read on the subject is like, I mean, we're kind of just 15 years into this. This is really new, you know?
Yeah.
So secret is I'm not on any social media platforms, and I utilize my time to study and learn.
Out of all those resources that you have consumed, what's a starting point that you'd recommend to my listeners here?
Totally. So obviously Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, really blew up. That's a great read. Along with that, Dr. Nicholas Kardaris is on our team. He wrote two books called Glow Kids and Digital Madness.
Hmm. Hmm.
I highly recommend those. Those are probably my top choices. And he's a clinician. He's a PhD. I mean, both these guys are obviously genius. But Digital Madness, I'd say, is the most contemporary, up to date, really unpacking the sociological, psychological impacts of really just how we're living as human beings. But also the minds behind these technologies. Like, there's a reason why Steve Jobs never gave his kids these technologies. There's a reason why every big tech founder went to what's called a Waldorf school, which are low
Mhm.
tech to zero tech schools. Um,
The founders themselves, not just
the
their
founders
kids.
themselves, Eric Schmidt, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, yeah, Systrom, Zuckerberg, these guys went to low tech schools.
Hmm.
So the whole idea is, right, you don't get high on your own supply. And
Mhm.
even Chamath, who's one of the first founders at Facebook, has literally come out and said, along with Sean Parker, the first, president of Facebook, like, um, that we did this intentionally. We knew exactly what we were doing. It was a social validation feedback loop, something like a hacker like myself would create. They all knew it. And there's a history, to the science of addicting people to tech. BJ Fogg, is one of the main founders of this idea at Stanford. His persuasive design lab is really where all of these ideas of exploiting humans with machines started. And pretty much once all these guys started implementing them in your Googles and your social medias and your gaming, revenue just exploded. So these books go into details of how this isn't by chance, which I think is encouraging, that you shouldn't feel shame that you can't stop scrolling. It's actually not your
Mhm.
fault. And it's not that you lack virtue either. It's actually that they know that we have an affinity for the social. They are using intermittent positive feedback, just like in Skinner cages. Um, they are using multiple tactics that are creating engagement that make them money, right? So if you want to get your time back and your happiness back and actually be more successful, the funny thing is, there was a test by this guy named Paul Torrance, the Torrance tolerance test, which actually followed a group of people out of Minnesota um, through their whole life and actually showed that creativity was the best predictor of success, actually above IQ. So we're actually in what I'm hearing is called a creativity crisis, actually because these technologies are dulling our sensitive, our cognitive abilities are atrophying. We're actually in a creativity crisis. And one of the things I love about Humanality is that we're helping people get their creativity back, which is going to help them in the workplace. It's going to help them in their personal lives. And that really matters, you know? So those are two major books. There's more on our website you can check out. We have some resources there for a whole list of books.
Yeah. Well, you're really well spoken. As you were going on that excellent speech, it occurred to me that, man, this guy's going to get assassinated by the tech companies. But then I realized, no, they're just too powerful.
No,
There's no way that we can
no.
overcome the enormous typhoon or tsunami of addiction. I mean, we'll do the best we can.
No, and that's what I kind of
But
say. It's like, I think we'll help millions of people. But there's 6 billion people on phones, smartphones specifically. And yeah, these are multi-trillion-dollar companies. There's a lot of people in this space. They'd have to kill a lot of people, to be honest, that are aware of this data. Um, and I'm not really afraid uh, of them in any sense, you know, like for a lot of reasons. But I think ultimately we are getting tired of the junk food and junk media. And I do think this is an incredible time to be doing what we're doing because, you know, less people are listening to the news. I think people are waking up with Jonathan Haidt's book of the dangers / causal
yeah,
link
yeah,
between the stuff. So I feel actually pretty optimistic. I think humans are incredibly resilient. And I do think there is going to be a certain amount of the population that goes into the metaverse and AI and VR goggles and chooses to live in that world. Sadly, they're going to get sick. Like 6 out of 10
hmm
Americans have at least one or more chronic diseases. 40.9% of Americans are going to get cancer. I mean, 70
Jeez.
percent of our population is obese or overweight. So I think if you continue to go down that tech side, like Dr. Kardar says, we weren't designed to be sedentary, screen staring, meaning devoid creatures. Like there's a reason when you stop scrolling on Facebook, like there's a reason when you stop scrolling on Facebook that you're like that didn't that was meaningless.
Soul
It's soul
crushing.
crushing. Right. So I do think people are rebelling. I would like to be kind of the hub of the rebellion. Um,
I love that,
and
dude.
that's kind of the plan.
Okay, so who are actually? I'm not going to even say that joke. Some things are too far. You know, it has to be pretty bad if I refrain
Yeah, yeah,
myself from
yeah.
saying.
You can share with me after.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. It's always the best part of the podcast, anyways.
Nice.
Um, so okay, last segment here. Um, I'm very interested as an entrepreneur or wannabe entrepreneur, however you see it. Uh, how do you lead this organization? Like, what are the practical aspects?
Yeah, in one sense, like amongst like art team.
I think there's yeah, I think there's a couple considerations. So one is vision,
Mhm.
which I think you've touched upon that for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe if there's something that you haven't explicitly said,
yeah,
I'd be happy to hear. But then also, yeah, then another aspect is leading the team. Then another aspect is how do you use your time? Are there like particular tools or hacks that have been very helpful for you?
yeah, yeah. I'd say so. Vision. I mean, that's naturally my skill set. So I do find, you know, getting to know myself over the years, being with myself has been the most like painful, difficult, amazing, and like fruitful journey, right? So, and I'd say a lot of our digital technologies are ridding our capacity of knowing thyself. That's to me pretty obvious. And because it's kind of terrifying to allow your own thoughts to come up, to allow the crap, you know, in your life, or maybe that those places of duplicity in your own heart and life. And I mean, in order to have vision, I think you have to know your skill sets and you have to um, be able to know where you can impact, you know? So for me, I think that journey of getting to know myself and doing, you know, work to unpack. Um, yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with like IFS and internal family systems. Yeah,
Yeah.
like getting to know my parts, and why they're speaking and saying things. Like to me, that's totally connected to vision, because it's really hard to have vision for what you want or where you want an organization to go if you actually don't know yourself and know what your skill sets are. So like strength finders, super helpful for
Yeah.
me. Obviously, the Myers-Briggs stuff I know isn't some perfect analysis and has a lot of discrepancies, but
Yeah.
that's been very helpful to get to know vision. Um, and then amongst, our team's small. So as of right now, I mean, we're still in startup kind of madness life. So what's actually been really helpful as a team, I found, um, in this weird space that we're in at the moment, as a small organization, growing from literally square one. I mean, right? This is a new problem. This isn't like there was an industry in place, right? Like this is a totally new solution that we're trying to solve for. Sorry, problem we're trying to solve for.
Mhm.
So I think something that's working team wise right now is just, really, really getting behind the mission. I think a lot of organization, like if you're just in this to make money, which I would say again, our digital landscape really exacerbates these four kind of ancestral or ancient ideas of ideas we think that will make us happy: fame, power, pleasure, and money, right? Like these media platforms are just preying upon these more primal desires that Aquinas and Aristotle spoke about. But I've just found right now, like really sticking to the mission of helping people be more human, get their time back, get their lives back. I can tell, like, once you wake up to the problem, I mean, people are on board. So I think getting behind the mission is really crucial. And then my time, yeah, I do a lot of, I do some block scheduling. I mean, I'm writing a book. I mean, for Hallow, that essentially was 150 pages of content. So I already kind of wrote a book. And the 11 episodes of curriculum are 20 to 50-minute episodes that I created, um, as well. So I have been able to pump out an incredible amount of productivity. And I do think, honestly, it is my time blocking, but it's also my lack of engagement with the digital world. Um, that's kind of the greatest hack right now. And again, like I am purposely setting up this organization. Really think word of mouth is the most powerful thing on the planet. Like when my music career went from like, okay, I had all the social media, you saw the crowds I was in front of, blah, blah, blah. I still get calls today just because people know me and they see me, because word of mouth to me, again, is still the most powerful thing on the planet. And that takes time. So to me, that's a hack that I don't think people are leveraging enough, is like your human connection with people, your human capital. That book, Bowling Alone or Alone Together or Alone Together, Sherry Trickle, Bowling Alone by Putnam. He talks about the social capital of like bowling league and like, your Boy Scouts or like whatever the extracurricular activity is, like wherever you're meeting people, like if you're an entrepreneur, like share with them what you're doing, create those
Yeah.
in-person contacts. That's what people are starving for. I think the businesses that prioritize in-person experiences are going to win. And
Mhm.
we're kind of leveraging both, right? We're using tech, we're using videos. Uh, that's the medium. And then people are watching those together at a home. So they don't even realize, but I'm giving them all of these benefits just by them meeting together at someone's home. You know, that's just already going to be part of the
Yeah.
solution. So I don't know if that answers all three of those questions, but that's kind of my initial thoughts.
This is really making me reconsider my own path. I recently decided to divest from Facebook, Instagram, basically every social media except for X and LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And I'm talking about professionally. I mean, personally, I don't use social media
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all. I mean, I kind of hate it,
yeah.
honestly. But for professional
Hmm.
purposes, using X and LinkedIn. Uh, but I've been thinking about, well, what's my product?
Mm.
And I was thinking of like online community, maybe possibly courses for
Hmm.
parents, but yeah, I'm just less and less attracted to the idea of so-called online community, which, as he said, is it may not even be a community at all.
I think courses are great. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing. I mean, the way that you can share information now, if it's packaged properly and in a medium that respects the user, I think it's incredible. So like, again, all the Instagram content, I couldn't tell you one thing from all the people I followed and all the gurus and all the health experts and you name it. Like if I were to think right now, I probably couldn't tell you like one thing that I, learned from it. And I consumed like so much content. You know what I mean? So it's like the medium itself is creating this lack of understanding, really deep understanding. So Cal Newport's work has been huge for me too. Digital Minimalism is a great book, and then deep work. But he's on podcasts. I don't know if he's on any social media, but like, yeah, that's why I'm investing a lot in my book. Like I want a lot of people to read my book because it's a medium again, like that actually respects you and you can really sift through and takes time, and reading's kind of a lost art today. But in your case, I get LinkedIn. I haven't gone on LinkedIn yet. I am definitely getting recommendations to do so. I already see though how they've kind of gamified it. And now that I just kind of know too much about how all this stuff works now. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to, like, we haven't even touched the privacy issues of what's happening with tech. I'm just not as willing to give away my data anymore.
Wow. So why courses versus just a book?
In the sense of which one would be more optimal?
Yeah. Because part of me thinks that courses are kind of like a scam. Like you can just charge so much more because people are used to overpaying for American University. And it's not even the content is not even as nearly as deep as you would get in a book.
For sure.
Right. So it's almost like people who are too dumb to read a book. You pay a lot more money. You pay literally 10 times as much money, get 1/10 of the content for a course.
Yeah.
So
no, that's a really good question. I'd say the differentiator or like value skew for Humanality is, again, like the course is a piece of it's like one ingredient. So like part of the other ingredients are like, we have these Humanality water bottles. I don't have it with me, but it has all the personal real life victory stickers and then community adventure stickers. So like you have this water bottle, and when you accomplish phone-free meals, or one of the other ones is called focused fitness. So like you go and work out at a gym without earpods in, you accomplish that, you put that on your water bottle. There is this progressive, encouragement that like you are taking on these are difficult for people now, right? Like, we have phone-free washrooms. So like, I know you're not going to the bathroom for 45 minutes. Like you're scrolling while you're dropping a deuce, you know what I mean? So it's like, you can actually take some time now and just use the restroom. And then when you accomplish that, you put the sticker on it. So again,
dude, if you're not free when you're using the bathroom, you're never free, man. I think that is a great litmus test right there.
For sure. I was in the airport. I fly like every other day. I've been flying my whole life, it feels.
Oh, wow.
So most of my life is spent in airports, which if you're in the space that I'm in, it's like the most depressing environment ever.
Yeah.
Because everyone is just like this. But anyway,
It's kind of nice in a way, because then you kind of feel like you're on a retreat, like you're all by yourself. You're not even alone together. You're just alone.
Totally.
Alone. It's like it's contemplative.
It is. Yeah, you definitely probably need to shift that mindset. I see it. I'm like, oh, we're all already zombies. Like this is horrible.
Well, we live in a dystopia. I mean, I think we've lived in a dystopia since the fall of mankind, but it's just so much more obvious now. Anyways, I got a little sidetracked.
No, that's all true. So yeah, I do think books are optimal. I'd say our value skew is that there's a lot that accompanies our course. It's not just you sitting alone in a room and watching a video, and that's just not how we're running that. So I do think there is something to be said. Books have changed my life. I mean, books have for sure changed the trajectory of my actions and time and attention,
Yeah, I think I may end up offering a course just to take advantage of the new dark age. I mean, might as well. If you can't change it, might as well.
And again, there is good in it. There is good in it. It's not, maybe just because it's not optimal doesn't mean we shouldn't use it.
Yeah, I think the advantage of it is it can be more interactive,
Mhm.
and you're just going to appeal to more people.
Mhm.
It's going to be an easier, lower bar for people.
Totally.
So, anyways, cool. Well, this was amazing. Do you have any last words for us, Andrew?
Yeah, and maybe just some words of encouragement. I think it's so many families, parents, spouses are being affected by this. And it's funny, anytime I start to talk about this, one spouse looks to another and gives them the eyeballs because they're scrolling too much, or they're on their phone all the
Yeah,
time. Like, so we
yeah,
need to just start with a lot of compassion. And again,
yeah,
understand that
yeah.
this is on purpose. This wasn't our fault. There are companies behind this. And I don't want to speak to the people in the companies, but I could say very clearly that their organizational business model incentives are set up for addiction, and there is a way out of this. And it's going to be some really hard steps, but we give you the strategies, we give you the community to deal with the in-person village experience. So I would just encourage people, like, if you're listening to this, and you want to start a humanity village. And again, we're getting steps in, we're helping you eat better food, we're helping you get better sleep. There's so many ways that we can be living better. And again, this is the most incredible time to be alive, actually. Like planes, trains, cars, you know, I do have some issues with how our medical system is set up, but we do have an incredible medical, system. Like we have access to food and water, and none of these things are perfect, but this is the best time to be alive still, I think. And now we just have to kind of start to recalibrate. Okay, this experiment has gone wrong. How can we maybe rewind a little bit? The whole idea that we need our kids and our students to like be ready for the technology age is a complete fallacy. The more that you can get off of technology, the better your life will be. So I really believe that's the case. But I want to leave people with hope. Like there are ways out of this. There are solutions, and we're kind of compiling that all in one place. So you don't have to go 6 million places to find it. Um, so I would just encourage people to be willing to take some difficult steps and do it together, and you're going to experience like incredible freedom.
Love it. So, to the virtuous leaders listening to this, Andrew's giving us a message of hope, despite or perhaps because of the great challenges that we face. So, one thing that Andrew highlighted is word of mouth. So, I think if you have something good inside of you, share it with your friends and family. Have those real life experiences with them. Let's build real community. And if you think that this episode was good, then please share it as well. And make sure to check out humanality.org. And let's start these villages. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. See you next time.